Have you ever wished you had the confidence to ask for a raise or negotiate a new job title with your boss? Or maybe even tell your partner that you no longer want to go to that vacation destination without dreading the conversation and being anxious about making your ask? I'm sure you have friends and you know people that do this so well and so eloquently and have so much courage when they make their asks. And even when they don't get what they want, they have such an eloquent way of pivoting the discussion and asking for something else or something that may get a yes. Do you ever wish you had their confidence? Do you wonder what it would feel like if you could make that ask? You know, there was a time not so long ago that I also struggled with asking for what I wanted, and I really shied away from negotiating. In fact, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this on camera and have it recorded, but there was a time, in fact, it was this random Tuesday afternoon in the Concordia Extended Learning Department where I was making photocopies, where I had this mortifying embarrassing exchange with a very good friend that forever changed my life. John walks in and asks me if I was going to the annual Canadian Management Conference taking place in Halifax later that year. And at the time I was pursuing my PhD and paying for it myself. So to pay the bills, I actually was teaching courses at Concordia. And I told John that I didn't have the money to pay for the conference, and I didn't have the money to pay for the conference fees and the travel expenses. So he asked why I didn't apply for professional development funds. And I told him I wasn't even aware that I had access to those funds. And he looked at me shocked. He couldn't believe that I never asked what was available to me in terms of benefits as a teacher when I signed my contract. And I was incredibly embarrassed because I never asked. And over the next few days, I started to wonder what other opportunities had I been missing out on because I never made these asks. Now, you have to understand, for a PhD student, these conferences are not just about presenting a paper and speaking about your research. Academic conferences are places in which PhD students make connections with professors from other schools who are looking to hire new candidates. So when you don't attend these events, you're at a real disadvantage because you limit your potential job opportunities. So what I did after my conversation with John on that random Tuesday in the photocopy room, I did what I always do when I'm in uncharted territory, and I went to the social science literature and I read up about negotiations, and I found out that there's this whole discipline. And I learned two things, two really, really imperative things. One, I learned about the psychology of decision making. And two, I learned how to stack the cards in my favor so that I increased the odds of getting what I needed and wanted. What blew my mind away was that there was this science to this topic. There's a process to preparing for negotiation. There's a process, there's steps that you can take to prepare for conversations. There's ways to quickly alter the communication when things go downhill. For instance, prior to engaging in a negotiation, you need to start thinking about what do you want? What are your priorities? And you also need to be thinking about what are you willing to concede? And the third thing you should note is your BATNA, your best alternative to negotiate an agreement. In other words, it's your plan B. Now, you may not like your plan B, but you always have a plan B. So before any negotiation, I want you to marinate in these three issues: your priorities, your concessions, and your BATNA. And I promise you, if you do just that, you will be way ahead of the competition. So prep, and prep some more. And one last thing, don't ever reveal your BATNA, but signal your BATNA. In other words, you don't need to tell the other party the details of your BATNA, but you should indicate that you do have other offers, providing that you do. Now, by the way, don't ever lie about your BATNA. We live in a really small world where people know other people, so there's a good chance if you lie, you're going to get discovered. If you want to go deeper and discover how to negotiate how to negotiate win-win solutions, I invite you to join our negotiations course called Cracking the Code. It's starting Tuesday, May 26th, and we still have some spaces available. We want to make this an intimate group where we can have really meaningful conversations, so we intend to keep the cohort small, but we still have space for a few more. So click on the link below, reserve your spot, and I can't wait to see you in class. To your negotiation success.